Good morning, good people. It's morning time and it's a beautiful day. Let me show you around. Oh my God, the beauty of Kenya. It's unbelievable. Wherever you go, whatever you plant, wherever you are, it's beautiful. So, this morning I'm actually having my Kikuyu breakfast and also sitting on my laptop trying to translate a Kikuyu song for you because I have a very interesting story to talk to you about today. That is called doma. It's actually a root vegetable, yeah, and I'm having it with some ginger tea. All right, guys, so I'm here translating a Kikuyu song for you. The song is about relationships. It's about marriage, actually, guys. So, why do I want to talk about relationships? Because guys, the first relationship that we have in this world is the one where you're born into. Most of us are born into a family, hopefully, a family of parents and siblings, or just parents alone if you're the firstborn. Or maybe you're born into, a family where it could be the single parent, it could be just a guardian, or maybe you don't even have a family. Yeah, maybe you just were born into this world and somehow you just found yourself with some people somewhere. So that's the first relationship. The first relationship that we ever have influences most of the other relationships that we have going forward. How you felt as a baby, how you were treated as a baby, how you're welcomed or not into this world. And so, for example, as you get older, and when you get older and you have now to look after the people who looked after you, it will be influenced a lot by their input into your life. If you don't put into the life of your child, it will be very difficult for them to give back to you. And that's the reason why, for me, I feel obligated to give back to my parents in a positive way because they've given so much for me, and especially for me and my son. They've given a lot. My mom has given a lot of herself, poured herself into us. There are different kinds of relationships. Like, I remember when I was working with a family counselor in the US, in the university. We learned about these kinds of relationships, which are what you call estranged, where you're kind of like not together, you're isolated from family members, or you can be normal and healthy, where you have a healthy independence and also dependence on each other, which is positive. Or you can be enmeshed, which is there's no, it's like where a member of the family, like your mother or your father, refuses to let go of you. That most of our African parents want to be involved in our relationships, or in our lives, even beyond adulthood, even beyond 18, 21, 30, 40. They still want to be there, present, in almost every decision that you make. And it can be really annoying. So I've had to break free from that because enmeshment is not healthy. Anyway, but in some cases, some relationships can be actually quite toxic. Now, let's talk about male female relationships now. When you go into your family now, let's say you have a husband or a wife, let's say you get married, and or maybe you have like a boyfriend girlfriend situation, or you have colleagues at the office. They will most likely treat you almost similar to the way they grew up. If they grew up in a family where people were estranged, you might find that they're quite comfortable, kind of like isolating you and feeling nothing about it because that's how they grew up, most likely, and they've considered that that's their normal. Whereas if you are in a same office situation with that kind of a person and you came from an enmeshed environment, it means that when it comes to coffee breaks, you want to know every single detail about your colleague's life, and you feel that you want to be really close. And if they don't tell you, then you feel resentful because they didn't include you. You feel excluded. So why don't we just aim to have healthy relationships? Yeah. So, and when it comes to marriage as well, we can also have situations where people are not faithful to one another. A lot of the reason why many people are unfaithful have something to do with the way that they grew up. Some people don't like to feel enclosed and enmeshed. If you're the kind of person who wants to be always leaning on your spouse, always there, micromanaging, checking what they're doing, checking their phones, checking their relationships, wanting to know what they said to who, what was said there, that's comes from something that is not good. It comes from a toxic environment. One should, and also the same thing with those people who cheat. Some people who cheat, it's because they grew up in a family where they didn't actually have relationships that were close and forming. I remember when I was getting married, my dad always warned me that if you marry into a family or into if you marry a man who came from a family that came from polygamy, for example, you might find that he doesn't actually form true bonds with you. And he said that he had seen it with a lot of his friends, where most of them who had come from polygamous relationships, many men, especially men, they tend to easily, move away. They tend to easily be drawn to the attention of other women. And they don't necessarily form very close bonds with you. I thought to myself, is that really true? What do you think, guys? Is that correct? That's what my dad told me. Coming to think of it, I think it could be true, and it could be a natural reaction. Like we have just a different way of looking at things. That um, what you call cheating is not what I call cheating. What you call cheating, I call living, where I have multiple relationships with multiple people. But there's this song I was listening to this morning on Kameme FM. Like I told you, I play old songs for my mom. I play her like Kikuyu songs because she's now kind of going back into vernacular. You'll find that when people have dementia, they start to speak vernacular language. They resort back, they revert back to being, you know, to their primary setting, which is the language that they grew up in. So my mom is going with that language. So we're watching a lot of the local vernacular TV, which I'm so happy is there. So there's this song in Kikuyu, and it's basically states, if you want to go, I ain't gonna hold you back. If you want to leave, darling, you have every right to go. You have my blessing, you have my letter, you could go. Don't take me in circles back and forth. Stop manipulating me back and forth. Allow me to scratch my own back as far as I can reach. So basically, what it's about is it's about manipulation, and it's about the one thing that usually breaks marriages in Africa, and especially in Kikuyu tradition, which I was told by a lady here, is the main reason, the main issue that this song is addressing is unfaithfulness. This is a song that is being sung by a man addressing his wife. You know, if you want to go, nothing's holding you back. By the time a man is telling you to leave, usually it has something to do with the fact that he no longer trusts you. Either it's adultery or witchcraft, or you're being too much involved in the church, or you're not paying attention to him, or you're paying attention too much to the children and you're not paying attention to him. When a man feels slighted like that, he sings this song. So why don't I sing it in Kikuyu and then do some sort of a translation, which is not exact, but as close as possible, and then we come back to it. Okay, so let's go. It goes like this. 와이관여거디 니에디 코니테테 와이관여거디 다리 웨나 마로와 티가 코드와라 디디디 드와라 세세 데케데도에 하랴니 구키니라. If you wanna leave, I ain't gonna hold you back. If you wanna leave, darling, you have every right. Don't take me in circles of back and forth and back. Oh, let me alone, let me figure out my life. So, what do you think about that song, guys? It's so interesting. For those Kikuyus on here, or those people who go to Mogidi is a Kikuyu dances, you can appreciate this song. It is played so beautifully. I'm going to see if I can find it and play it for you, or maybe have it as a background song to this video. But this is basically addressing the whole issue of manipulation, that a woman has basically strayed from her marriage, and she's just like, taking the man back and forth in circles and giving excuses and denying denying that she actually has a relationship out there. Because basically, why do women deny that they have extramarital affairs, or why is it that the tradition is so harsh on women, for example, in extramarital affairs? I think it's because, like the lady told me today, somehow society believes that a man generally, has a little bit more flexibility and freedom, to explore, just based on the fact that he's a male and that he doesn't get attached to the woman. And I think we were having this discussion with someone who told me that, when a man and a woman have sex, basically what happens is that the man's DNA, especially if it's unprotected sex, it means that when a man's DNA gets exchanged with a woman, and that way the man's DNA remains within the woman, and it actually changes a lot of the chemistry within a woman's body. Because you see, when a man has sex with a woman, he leaves her with himself, with his DNA, and she carries it around. And science, apparently, scientific studies have shown if a woman gets pregnant and has a child, the next child will also carry the DNA of the previous child, and so on and so forth. Okay. So apparently, we don't understand science. Science is quite interesting. The body is a very interesting thing. So for a woman, when she goes out of the marriage, it becomes such a big issue and it has huge repercussions for her. So I think it's important for us to realize that it's important as women, as much as possible, to remain faithful to our spouses and our marriages. You'll find that a lot of women, when they want to break off with a gentleman, when they want to break off with their husband or their boyfriend or something like that, what do? They go and find another man. Because it's almost like that other man's DNA cancels out the other man's DNA. Yeah. So the easiest way to leave a spouse is to cheat, to go out there and find another man. And that's the reason why one, as a woman, if you love your husband and you really love your marriage and things like that, you want to stick as much as possible to him, and do not try your best, do your very best to stick and be faithful to that one man, because it's very easy to lose your emotions and your feelings if you get with a different man. And that's the reason why I think why men tend to rape women in war, because it's kind of a way to kind of create a wedge between a woman and her husband, to create a problem, in the society. I think instinctively men know that once they've broken that bond, that's it. You know, the man will reject the woman straight away, and the woman will gradually stop having, any sort of, closeness with her husband. That closeness with her husband is going to be impacted by that DNA. So we have to be very careful to protect our girls, protect women, protect your marriage, protect. If you want to stay faithful to your husband, do not cheat. If you want to stay in a good relationship, in a happy relationship, ladies, do not cheat. Yeah. And so this song is where there's a very bitter man and he's very bitter with his wife and he sang that song. So, yeah, that's why a man would just let you go if you cheat. Yeah. Because he knows basically that, he kind of knows and he can sense when there's a little bit of estrangement between the two of you. Yeah. Okay, that's basically my nugget for today. Anyway, I hope you have a nice day, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for your time, and thank all of you who are on TikTok. Thank you for your time. Thank you for subscribing, and okay, cheers, guys. Bye bye. Thank you.
Say